You're listening to the Why Boarding School podcast, broadcasting around the world. Join us as we promote independent boarding schools throughout the United States and Canada with our invited guests. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jeffrey Quebec.
Welcome to the Why Boarding School podcast. I'm Jeff Quebec, and today I'm joined by the Director of Enrollment Management at Tabor Academy in Marion, Massachusetts, Eric Long. Welcome, Eric. It's great to have you here today.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for having me today. This is great.
Awesome. Well, dating back to the Academy's founding by Elizabeth Tabor back in 1876, Tabor seems to have quite a rich history. And Eric, perhaps you can start off by giving our audience a brief overview of the number of students at Tabor Academy, grades you offer, where the students come from, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are located, as Jeff said earlier, in Marion, Massachusetts, which is located on the south coast of Massachusetts. Many of you have maybe been to Cape Cod. We are about 7 miles from the Bourne Bridge to head over to Cape Cod. So we're a waterfront, oceanfront campus of 88 acres with 515 students in grades 9 through 12. We're a co-ed school. Some of the things that make us a little different or a little unique is our location and what we do with that location. Being an oceanfront campus, we offer, during the academic day, we can offer marine sciences, nautical sciences. You'll see 3 docks and a research vessel, a 38-foot powerboat that our students are able to use. In the afternoons, we'll have a sailing program, as well as a rowing program that we can launch right off of one of our 3 docks right out in front of campus. It's a traditional boarding school, a traditional New England boarding school, with something a little different, which is an ocean-facing campus. And so it's a unique setting. It's a quiet little town of about 5,000 residents. So it's not very rural. There's a small little town with a general store and a sandwich shop and a pizza shop and different things to get off of campus, as well as a beach at less than a mile from campus. So there's a few different things that make Tabor pretty unique in comparison to other boarding schools.
Very nice. And so, Eric, what's the academic curriculum like at Tabor Academy?
Yeah, so our in 9th grade, we like to talk about meeting students where they're learning. And so what that means in our perspective is every student has strengths in areas where they'd like to improve. And so for our students, where those strengths lie, we want to challenge and we want to move those kids forward. And so where, we'll have 9th graders in geometry, we'll have 9th graders in algebra 2, we'll have 9th graders in calculus. Wherever you're entering, we are going to meet that challenge. And on the other side of that coin, wherever you need shoring up or a little more scaffolding, we can do that as well. And so no 2 schedules are alike. It's a very individualized learning process for our kids. We'll offer advanced topics courses. Advanced topic is similar to the AP. We're not teaching to the AP exam, but we are kind of mirroring that, and our students are able to take the AP exam at the end of the year if they so choose, but we're not confined to following the curriculum as closely and in a day-to-day, week-to-week fashion on the AP, but there are a number of AP offerings, a number of honors level offerings, and as I said earlier, marine science, nautical science, options for students as well who have interest in kind of a different rail of science. Biology, chemistry, physics are obviously offered here, but you can also move into the marine sciences or nautical sciences as well.
Can you talk a little bit about the ASSIST or the academic support program that Tabor offers?
Absolutely. So ASSIST is located upstairs in our Travis Roy Campus Center. The Assist Center is open all day and staffed by 3 individuals who will work with students depending on their needs. And so there's a lot of organization, time management, some individual tutoring, some 1-on-2 tutoring. It's not a paid service. It's part of tuition. And so what we try to do is work with students and be available to students who, especially our younger students who have, are adjusting to high school level work, and finding it difficult to keep all those balls in the air. Moving away from home and starting high school, there's an academic step up in level and expectation. And so the assist center is there for that, as well as learning strategies and learning support. At the point of applying, we really do ask that families share any kind of educational testing or any concerns or supports that their student receives at their current school, so that we know that we're in a position where we can support an incoming student should they be accepted and should they decide to enroll at Tabor.
Oh, that's great. Can you tell me a little bit about the visual and performing art offerings at Tabor Academy?
Absolutely. We just had a dance recital on Friday. It was awesome, actually.
Oh, very nice.
Very well attended.
That's great.
So when you see our overhead campus shot, which is amazing, you'll see the biggest building on the water is the Hoyt Auditorium, and that's our 700-seat auditorium. Within that building, you've got 3 floors, and you've got individual practice rooms, a band room, an orchestra, a string ensemble room, as well as the main stage. In the fall, we'll offer two plays that students can be a part of. In the winter, we'll do a winter musical. Big production, usually 75, 80 students are involved, from set design, lighting, sound, to directing, and obviously casting and acting in the production. And then in the fall, we have a black box theater in Hoyt Auditorium. And so those tend to be one-act plays and smaller productions that happen quite frequently, 5, 6, 7 one-act plays throughout the course of the spring. And so students have a chance in all 3 seasons to perform or act in various ways and to various levels of audience. The winter musical is 3 nights, sellout crowd of 700 of your friends, family, and local townspeople. It's amazing. And the Black Box Theater is 80 seats, and those tend to be sellouts too. So it's a really strong program and something that a number of our students really take good advantage of.
What an awesome opportunity for the students. And how about on the visual arts side of things?
On the visual arts side, away from the waterfront, we have the Braemar Art Center.
Okay.
So that would be our ceramics, photography, digital and traditional photography, as well as traditional arts, drawing, printmaking, jewelry design, things like that.
Great.
Every student needs to take 2 full years and receive 2 full years of art credit to graduate.
Okay. And that can be any of your 4 years if you happen to be a 4-year student at Tabor Academy?
Correct. And if you're not a 4-year student, your credits would transfer in. So if you started art somewhere else, you could finish here as well. You can also do it in the afternoon. So we offer ceramics in the afternoon. We offer something called photo pool in the afternoon. So they're essentially photojournalists that are out at games, out at performances. We have guest speakers. They'll cover the event like a photojournalist. And so a lot of our photography around campus, if you have the chance to come visit us, is student photography, which is really neat.
Oh, that's really neat. It's awesome. So in addition to sort of the marine sciences, Eric, are there perhaps any other special signature programs that are offered at Tabor Academy?
Yeah, from an academic perspective, absolutely. The marine sciences, because of our location, we take really good advantage of that. Outside of that, the history department will offer quite a wide range of electives, as well as econ and macro and micro and different levels of economics. And then in terms of our foreign languages, we'll offer French, Spanish, and Latin as well. And so there's a number of different ways to be involved academically that are signature programming. In terms of rigor and support, I think is a good thing to keep in mind for your student. You will find the challenge, but you'll also find the support at school here.
That's great. So how about athletics? Is every student required to play a sport each season? And what are some of the athletic offerings that Tabor Academy has?
Yeah, that's a great question. Not every student is required to play a sport. And so every student is required to be somewhere after school.
Okay.
And where that's somewhere after school, 2 of those seasons need to be active. And active tends to be sports, but it can be the winter musical. It can be the dance team. It can be something where you're working with other students, you're engaged with other students, towards a common goal. So those would be, you need 2 active seasons after school. Traditional sports, soccer, basketball, baseball, hockey, football, lacrosse, tennis, golf, sailing, rowing, field hockey. I'm trying to think what else I may have squash. I think I hit squash, but quite a few of the traditional prep school sports. But then you could do community service in the afternoon. We have an intramural program where you're active, but you're not traveling to games and you're on a team. So the Tabor Hockey League is very popular with our kids. The only requirement is that it's required that you don't know how to play hockey and don't have experience.
Sure.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for new hockey players, new to hockey players. We'll have a similar league called the Tabor Basketball League. So the THL, the TBL. There's a soccer league. Similarly, it's more of on an intramural model at the college level where there's teams and cups and prizes to win.
So the students are forming their own teams?
Well, usually they're paired off, and so the THL is a good example. So you have an elite line, a premier line, and what do they call the last line? I think it's a select line.
Okay.
And so depending on your level of play, you're playing against other players at your level. So if you are a select player, you are playing against other select players.
Oh, perfect.
And so everybody's matched up really well. And so basically it's new to hockey. I know how to skate, but I've never held a hockey stick, or I played hockey until I was 5 or 6, and I know how to do all the things. I'm just not very practiced in hockey. And so you're always matching students up so that it's fun for everybody. You're playing against somebody at your level, getting a great workout, meeting some different kids outside of your dorm, outside of your classes, outside of your advisory, in a fun, low stakes, high energy setting, which I think the kids really like, and they have a good following. The stands are always full for the THL evening games, which is fun.
Some good rivalries there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nice. All right, Eric, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to learn more about Tabor Academy in Marion, Massachusetts.
Do you have any questions or guests that you'd like to see on an upcoming Why Boarding School podcast? You can contact us directly through our website at whyboardingschool.com. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to the Why Boarding School podcast. I'm Jeff Quebec, and I'm joined by Eric Long, who is the Director of Enrollment Management at Tabor Academy in Marion, Massachusetts. And Eric, I guess I would like to find out, what's a typical school day like at Tabor Academy?
Absolutely, Jeff. Our students' school begins at 8:30 in the morning. Most students, for 9th and 10th graders, there's a breakfast check-in in the dining hall. And so the 9th and 10th graders are typically out of the dormitory by about 8 o'clock. Breakfast is open for everybody, day students or boarders, regardless of whether you check in or not. There's 4 class blocks during the day, 75-minute classes. And so you'll go to school throughout from 8:30 to 3:15. During that time, obviously, you'll have a lunch block. There's a free period between 1:30 and 2 where you have a chance to hang out with your friends and relax, or go get some extra help with a teacher, or meet as a group. You'll see a lot of class meetings during that 1:30 to 2 time. At 3:15, everyone is kind of done with their school day and heading out to their afternoon commitment, whether it's practice on a field, or your community service meeting space to go out and do your afternoon commitment. That's usually 3:45 till about 5:15 or 5:30, depending on what you're doing and what level you're playing at. Dinner is 5 to 7 every evening, and so it's not a seated dinner with an advisory or anything like that. It's come and go as you please. It's a really social time in the dining hall for our students. It tends to be a hangout time. Kids will sit down and eat, and you'll see them in there for an hour and a half, kind of enjoying each other's company, getting ready for study hall. Evening prep begins at 8 o'clock in the evening. You can do that in your room or in the library from 8 to 10 p.m. And then at 10 p.m. you have a dorm meeting, typically for the boarders. That's when we ask our day students to return home if they're still on campus at 10 p.m. so that campus is pretty quiet at that point. For our younger students, 10:30 is lights out for the 9th graders, And for the 10th graders, it's 10:45, and then our 11s and 12s, 11 p.m. is lights out. And so it's a full day. It's a full day for teenagers to be engaged, learning, socializing, playing sports, being involved in activities, performing from 8:30 in the morning until basically 10:30 or 11 p.m. at night. So lights out is probably the easiest part of the day for a lot of the faculty here.
Yeah. So you mentioned the meals a little bit. So are the meals, are they sit down, buffet? Are they required? Or maybe if you elaborate a little more on the meals at Tabor Academy.
Yeah, that's a good question. No, they're not. They're part of tuition. There's not a meal plan, so you can come and go as much as you please. And they're not sit-down meals at all with faculty or in groups. We'll have a few signature meals. I guess going back to your signature programs or traditions question, we just had our Thanksgiving feast the other night. Oh my gosh, I don't know how many turkeys they make, but there is a table that runs the length of the dining hall. So if it's 75, 100 feet long, with students and plates and food going down both sides, and it's food as long as you can see, and it's one of the best. And we do a holiday breakfast coming up in about a month. That is a similar feast where it brings the community together before a break and surrounding the holidays. And so they do a really nice job in our dining hall, and I think we're really fortunate to have such high quality food.
Sounds like two great traditions there.
They are, yeah.
So how about the weekends at Tabor Academy? What are they like? Are there, different events on campus, off campus, clubs, activities, et cetera?
Absolutely, both. And so we have a weekend activities director. So Mr. Hebe is responsible for putting together a full slate of activities. He works directly with the students and our co-heads of school regarding kind of what kids want to do. And so some of the things that our kids will do, there's a 9-hole golf course across the harbor from campus here. So on Sundays, kids will go golfing, kids will go to the movies, kids will go bowling and axe throwing. There's a mall area, an outdoor mall area called Wareham Crossing. So there's restaurants and a Target and things to kind of restock your dorm room. So there's Target trips, and then there's obviously out to dinner trips. And then on campus, the campus is open. So we'll have open skate and open gym and open waterfront where you can go sailing, or this is all in the fall and the spring, obviously, when the weather's nicer. Kayaking, paddleboarding, things like that. Open gym, you can play volleyball and basketball. Open art, you can work on a ceramics projects or just go in and try it out. The campus basically opens up for all the students to enjoy. So you can, you can stay on campus and enjoy that, or you can get on one of the vans and get off campus and have a little fun too.
Very nice. Eric, can you tell us a little about dorm life at Tabor?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So Tabor has 15 dormitories. We're in New England boarding school. We would be considered a mid-sized school at 515 students with over 365 boarders. So there's in those 15 dorms, they tend to be 20 to 35 students, a couple floors, first floor, second floor. Most of our rooms are doubles. Occasionally we'll have some rooms be singles. Our older students tend to take those singles. There are 4 dorm parents affiliated with every dorm. And so those 4 dorm parents, many of them live connected to the dorm. They're called live-in dorm parents. So you'd have 2 or 3 live-in dorm parents so that, an adult or 2 or 3 are always under the same roof as all the students at school here. And then you'd have affiliate dorm parents to round out that group of 4 dorm parents in each group. They all are equipped with washers and dryers, so there's no need to take it to a central location. They all have common rooms with refrigerators, microwaves, little kitchenette type setup so that students, can have some snacks and refrigerate some things or prepare some food if they want to in those off times when the dining hall might not be serving.
So in addition to the dormitory parents, is there also an advisor system at Tabor Academy?
There is. The advisor system is, we do a 9th grade advisory. So those 9th grade advisors, there's 14 of them. They stay in the 9th grade for eternity. They're forever 9th graders, I guess. And as new students come in, They work with our ninth graders, then they pass them up into the 10th grade. And the idea behind that is that they are well versed in the traditional transitional things that ninth graders go through. You know, the I mentioned earlier the academic uptick in rigor and expectation coming from 8th grade to ninth grade. Maybe some homesickness for some of our ninth graders. Maybe self-advocacy, you know, asking, you know, talking to an adult and asking for extra help. So those ninth grade those ninth grade advisors do a really good job working with our ninth graders. Advisories tend to be 6 to 8 students per advisor. And then once they've graduated from the ninth grade, they'll go to the 10th grade group. And that 10th grade group will do the same. They'll stay with the 10th graders. And then after that, you can choose an advisor for 11th and 12th grade.
Okay, great. Would you say, is there a typical Tabor Academy student?
Well, they're all unique, but I would, generally speaking, you know, when we look at the applicant pool, which we see about 1,000 applications per year for roughly 150 to 155 spots, you know, students have demonstrated academic success and are engaged in the afternoons. So our kids are getting, you know, our engaged students, capable students, earning A's and B's. Many of them have a passion, whether that's dance or ice hockey or basketball. But there's some major activity in the afternoon outside of their academic life that they choose to pursue. And then a lot of our kids want to try something different. You know, they have, you know, academic goals, they have athletic or artistic goals. And then the hope for them is that they'll branch out and join the Tabor Hockey League, join the Tabor Basketball League, be an actor or a dancer, something that they haven't had the experience or the opportunity to pursue to this point, and kind of learn and grow and maybe go on, or maybe just try it and have the satisfaction of getting good at something and enjoying it and then moving on to another pursuit.
It does certainly seem like there's a lot of activities to try for the first time at Tabor.
Absolutely. This is definitely, you know, having a larger school of 515 students, we're able to provide a bigger program. And so, you know, from an academic perspective, we've got a larger program that can accommodate, you know, the highest level of learning to grade level learning in 9th through 12th grade. And then in the afternoons, you've got, you know, the captain of the Boston University hockey team is a Tabor alum, to kids who want to try on their first pair of skates. You know, you've got a wide range athletically, artistically, and academically, who are all in different places, but all being supported at the right level.
So speaking about the sort of uniqueness, are there any cool traditions at Tabor Academy that may be unique from other schools? And, you know, perhaps maybe, Eric, there's that one tradition that you hope will always remain part of Tabor Academy.
Yeah. My favorite one, and I'm not an alum, but what my daughter is, okay. And she's a class of 23, and she was able to partake in this tradition. The seniors, because of we're Tabor and we've got this amazing campus, the senior class will wake up the morning of graduation before sunrise, and to a person, not friendship groups, but to a member of the class, will all head down to the waterfront and sit on the dock and watch the sunrise one last time over the harbor, and kind of reflect on their time here. Enjoy that, you know, the colors and the lights and the beauty of the school one last time, head back to their dormitories, get prepared to go to graduation, which is usually 10 or 11 a.m., go off, get their diploma, graduate, and head off into whatever is next for all of these kids. And so I love that tradition because you know, there's so many kids, so many students here that think back on their time, so many alums that think back on their time and the time that they've spent by the water, on the water, in the dining hall, kind of watching the sunset. And so to have that last memory, be with your classmates as a class on the waterfront, over, you know, with school behind you and the water in front of you, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it sounds quite powerful, and I'm sure a lot of the students sort of reminisce and talk about that when they come back for reunions.
Absolutely. No, it's definitely a special memory for a lot of students. And the Tabor Boy. I mean, I haven't mentioned the Tabor Boy signature unique programming.
What is that?
That's our 92-foot ship. So we have a 92-foot large sailing ship. It's a 3-masted ship. Students have the opportunity to be part of the crew in the fall and the spring. And so basically we have a launch. The kids will go out on the launch. The boat's too large to bring all the way down into the harbor in front of campus, so we have to go out to the boat. And kids will have a chance to have different jobs on board, whether you're the XO or the engineer or the first mate. You work your way through as a chain of command. You're able to learn how to be a member of sailing the tall ship. And so they'll always do a trip at the end of each season. At the end of the fall this year, they sailed to Nantucket, stayed in the harbor for an evening, had a nice dinner in Nantucket Harbor, played some video game or some board games, and enjoyed time on board and on the deck. Woke up on Sunday morning, sailed the ship back. It's about 35 nautical miles, maybe to Nantucket, 40 nautical miles. And so it's a full day of sailing, and it's all student driven. There's 2 adults, obviously a captain. We have 2 captains on board that can have their 500-ton license that oversee the ship. But it's the students who, do the work and learn how to sail the ship, which is really neat. It's a unique experience.
What a great experience. So before we speak about admissions and the admissions process, is there anything about Tabor Academy that we didn't discuss today that you'd like to mention?
I feel like we've done a nice job covering it. I think from I've mentioned the water a few times, but I think what we've done on the waterfront and how we've maximized the use of our location, whether it's in the academic realm, whether it's in the athletic realm with sailing and crew and competing, or whether it's the Tabor Boy. We've done a really nice job creating programs, signature programs that not many schools can offer. And so it makes us pretty unique in that regard. And then all while, creating a traditional high school experience for those that aren't interested in the water, just maybe a lovely, beautiful seaside village, campus location in a small town in southern New England. I think we've kind of got a lot of areas covered for a lot of different kids.
So is it safe to say maybe at some level that most of the students will participate in some activity revolving around the water?
It is safe to say that, yeah. And in fact, we do ask all of our students to take a swim assessment because we are on the water. So
Makes
at
sense.
the very least, you're going to jump off the dock and swim out and make sure that you're safe to be around the water. But a number of our students, whether it's through one of the teams or on the Tabor Boy or just a weekend activity, just taking a kayak out with a couple friends and paddling out and having a nice Sunday afternoon on Sippacan Harbor, you'll in some way, shape, or form utilize the waterfront.
So hopefully you find some time to get out of the office yourself once in a while and get out there in the water.
I can see it from the office. I don't quite get on there as much as I'd like, but I can see it, which is nice.
So Eric, if someone's interested in Tabor Academy, how might they go about starting the admissions process?
Yeah, I would direct them directly to the website and inquire. The inquiry is short. It provides us information to send you back information on how to apply. So I would inquire, and then you can book a tour and an interview online, or you can call the office directly if you're more comfortable on the phone and scheduling a tour and an interview. That tends to take about 2 hours. It's about a 45 to 55 minute campus tour with a student. You'd come back and speak to someone like myself or another officer, admissions officer in the office here. And for the students, it's a one-on-one chance for them to talk about, their hopes, their dreams, their successes so far academically, what they hope to pursue in the afternoon or try in the afternoon. And then for the admissions officer, it's a good chance to just learn more about that student. And for the student, it's a good chance to ask some questions. What are some of the questions you've asked today, Jeff? What are some of your favorite traditions? What's unique about Tabor Academy? But I feel like the students and their families will leave that 2-hour window, having a good sense of the kind of students that decide to enroll at Tabor Academy, the kind of faculty that we have, and the friendly nature of our school and the supportive and rigorous nature of our school, all rolled into one in their 2-hour segment on campus.
And Eric, what is that website address for Tabor Academy?
Yeah, www.taboracademy.org.
There we go.
TABORACADEMY.
Awesome. This has been great, Eric. I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining me on the Why Boarding School podcast. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeff. This is great.
So once again, Eric Long, Director of Enrollment Management at Tabor Academy in Marion, Massachusetts, and it's taboracademy.org. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Why Boarding School podcast. We look forward to you joining us for our next episode. Please remember to subscribe to the Why Boarding School podcast and help us spread the word. Until next time.